Welcome back. We're going to work on the third example for lesson 4.3. So I'm going to show you the answer first in case you got it right, and then you won't have to watch the rest of the video. If you didn't, I will explain everything. So what we got was 50 over y equals y over 10. So y ended up being 10 root 5. And 40 over x equals x over 10. So x was 20. So if you got those correct, good job. If not, I'm going to explain how we do it right now. So the first thing we need to do is to separate and draw our triangles. So this one was kind of positioned like the one that we just had. So hypotenuse on the top and then the right angle in the bottom. I think this one looks a little bit easier because it's clear what is the short side and what is the long side. Okay, so go ahead and sketch your triangles. So from here, we just have to label where everything goes. Okay, so let's take a look at the big one first. So in the big one, our side that's across from the right angle, the hypotenuse, is labeled 50. The short side is labeled y, and the long side has no label. So let's take a look next at our medium triangle. Here's our right angle, so we can see that the side across from the right angle is not labeled. The shorter side is labeled x, and the longer side is labeled 40. So if we talk about left and right like I did in the second example, the left side is 40, the right side is x. Left side 40, right side x. Okay, so let's take a look at our baby triangle. So for this one, the hypotenuse is labeled. It has a y. Our left side has an x, and our right side has nothing. And I gave you a hint about that in the last video. If the whole thing is 50 and I take away 40 from it, I'm going to have 10 left. So this side would be 10. So from there, we just have to write our proportions. So this first triangle has a y and a 50 on the hypotenuse. So we have hypotenuse, short side. This has nothing on the hypotenuse and an x on the short side, so we don't want that one. Here we have the hypotenuse in the short side with a y and a number. So that's the other half of our proportion. So 50 over y equals y over 10. So cross multiply, we get 500 equals y squared. Take the square root, you end up with y is equal to the square root of 500. And simplify your radical. You can make a factor tree. I'm going to show you real quick my shortcut way. I look and see what the biggest perfect square is that can divide 300 or 500, and it's 100. 100 times 5 is 500. And then if we kind of look at them separately, what's the square root of 100? 10. And then we can't take the square root of 5 because it's a prime number, so we ended up with 10 root 5. And you would hopefully get the same thing if you did your factor tree. So now we look for our x proportion. We got no x's in this one, so that triangle is relevant for us right now. Here we have a 40 on the left and an x on the right. And then an x on the left and a 10 on the right. So there's our x proportion. 40 over x equals x over 10. Cross multiply, we get x squared equals 400. So once we take the square root, we get x equals 20. So I hope we got that. Make sure you write down any questions if you had any, and we'll talk about them in class tomorrow. Warner out.